The night they drove her out, the sky was too clear. Stars burned cold and sharp above the village, as if they were watching, silent witnesses, to a mistake that would one day demand its price. 11-year-old Ilara stood barefoot in the snow-crusted dirt, her breath shaking white in the air. A thin wool dress hung from her shoulders, already stiff with frost. Her mother's old shawl had been torn from her hands minutes earlier, ripped away by the same men who now stared at her with narrowed eyes and clenched jaws. "Enough of her lies," the headman said, his voice echoing against the wooden walls of the council hall behind him. "We will not let fear rot this village from the inside." Ilara opened her mouth. She had tried so many times already. Tried to explain. Tried to beg. Tried to tell them what she had seen in the mountains, what the birds had done, what the rivers whispered when the ice formed too early. But no one listened to children. And they listened even less to children who frightened them. "I'm not lying," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "The winter is coming early. Harder than before. The snow won't stop. The lake will freeze solid. The stores—" A slap cut her words in half. The sound cracked louder than thunder in the still night. Ilara fell to the ground, her cheek burning, her ears ringing. Gasps rippled through the crowd, but no one stepped forward. Not her neighbors. Not the women who once braided her hair. Not the men who had lifted her onto their shoulders during festivals. Her father stood at the back, his face pale, eyes hollow. He did not move. "Take her beyond the tree line," someone said. "She'll bring disaster if she stays. Let the forest judge her." Two men hauled her up by the arms. Her feet dragged through the dirt, leaving thin lines behind her like scratches in the earth. "Mama!" Ilara cried, searching the crowd. Her mother sobbed into her hands but did not look up. The gates opened. Cold wind poured in like a living thing, and just like that, Ilara was pushed into the dark. The forest swallowed her whole. Branches clawed at her hair and skin as she stumbled forward. Tears freezing on her cheeks. She did not know where to go, only that she could not go back. The village lights faded behind her one by one, until there was nothing but moonlight and shadow. By dawn, her feet were bleeding. By noon, hunger gnawed at her stomach like an animal. By nightfall, she collapsed beneath a pine tree, curling into herself as the temperature dropped lower than she had ever felt. Snow began to fall, soft at first, then heavier, relentless. "Ilara," she whispered to herself, gripping the small knife hidden in her sleeve. "You have to live." She thought of her grandmother then, old Mira, who used to take her into the woods before the villagers woke, who taught her how to read the sky, how to hear the forest breathe, how to notice when animals fled downhill too early. "Nature warns those who listen," her grandmother used to say, "and punishes those who don't." Ilara listened. That night she did not sleep. She watched the snow pile higher. She listened to the wind scream through the trees. She remembered every lesson. And when dawn came, she stood up. Survival did not arrive like a miracle. It came like pain. She learned quickly that the forest did not care about age, or fairness, or innocence. It rewarded only persistence. Ilara built her first shelter from fallen branches and pine needles. Hands numb and bleeding. It collapsed twice before she figured out how to brace it against a rock face. She cried when it finally stood, not because it was warm, but because it was hers. She trapped mice with crude snares and forced herself to eat them, gagging through tears. She learned which bark could be boiled, which roots could be chewed, which berries would kill her. The winter came faster than she feared. Snow buried the forest floor. Rivers froze thick and cruel. The sky became an endless gray wound. But Ilara endured. Weeks passed. Then months. Her hands hardened. Her fear sharpened into focus. She stopped crying at night because crying wasted energy. She moved higher into the hills where a cave opened behind a curtain of ice. Inside, the stone walls blocked the wind. She built a fire pit, learned how to keep smoke hidden, learned how to store food in frozen earth. She grew. Not taller, though that too, but stronger in ways the village had never taught. And while the village slept in comfort, laughing at the child who lied, Ilara prepared. She reinforced her shelter with timber scavenged from storm-felled trees. She built racks for drying meat. She dug channels to divert meltwater. She stored firewood until her arms ached. Because she knew this winter was not finished. The first death in the village came quietly. An old man found frozen in his bed, his hearth long cold. They said it was age, unavoidable. The second came louder, a child, who fell through thinning, ice when the lake froze deeper than ever before. Then came hunger. The stores emptied faster than expected. The hunts failed. The animals had fled early, just as Alara had warned. Snowstorms battered the roofs until beams cracked. The roads vanished beneath white walls. The village was trapped. Panic spread like rot. Why is this winter so cruel? It's never been like this. Someone must have cursed us. They whispered her name at first like a joke, then like a prayer. Alara said, "She warned us. Where did they send her?" The headman's face grew gray. The council argued behind closed doors while the wind screamed outside. And when the first child cried from hunger loud enough to be heard through the walls, they made a decision. The night they came to her door, Alara was mending a fur cloak. She had learned to stitch from bone needles and sinew. The fire cast warm light against the stone walls of her cave home. Dried herbs hung from the ceiling. A pot of stew simmered, rich and filling. She heard footsteps in the snow long before they reached her. She did not panic. She picked up her knife. When the shadows appeared at the mouth of the cave, she stood tall. 11-year-old Alara had left the village. But she was not 11 anymore. "Alara!" a voice called, trembling. "Please." She stepped into the light. The men gasped. Her hair was longer, braided back. Her eyes were sharp, her posture unyielding. "You're alive," someone whispered. "Yes," she said calmly. "I am." They fell to their knees. The headman wept openly. "We were wrong," he sobbed. "The winter is killing us. The children, please help us." Alara said nothing. The wind howled behind them, cruel and endless. Finally, she spoke. "You banished a child," she said. "You called truth a lie because it frightened you." Shame crushed them into the snow. "We beg you," her father said, stepping forward, tears streaming. "Come home." Alara looked past him, to the storm, to the village she once loved, to the people who chose comfort over courage. "This is my home," she said softly, and she closed the door. She did not leave them to die, but she did not forget. Alara returned the next morning with sleds of food, with instructions, with knowledge hard-earned through suffering. She taught them how to insulate their homes, how to ration, how to survive. She did not move back. She did not kneel. They came to her door all winter, seeking advice, warmth, forgiveness. And Alara gave what she chose to give, because some lessons come at a cost, and some winters exist not to destroy, but to reveal the truth.